Top of the morning to you traders. This is Chris Buss with Traders Profit Compass with your morning look at markets for Monday, April 12th. It's 6:25 as I'm starting the video. Okay, so this is the week we've kind of been waiting for, kickoff to earnings season. We've got the big banks firing up on Wednesday. So as we've been discussing, we still have the bullish backdrop. We've got rolling into earnings season. We've got April being bullish 15 of the last 16 years. And so I think at this point, all systems are go, at least on the surface. We've had bond rates moderating. I think that's just a consolidation. I think they do move higher, but this consolidation period has been welcome from the sense that it's given everybody just a chance to take a breath and recalibrate rather than what we've had prior to that, which is a relentless move higher. And I think that we do move higher in rates, and that will be bullish for the banks. And you'll probably hear some commentary on that as these guys report. So what I want to do today is go over, of course, our standard tickers, being the indexes and the FATMAAN names. I want to look at a couple of chart setups from last week that I pointed out that are starting to move. And then I want to look at KRE, which is the regional banking index, and then take a look at TLT. We do have some news this morning. The Chinese have slapped Baba with a $3 billion fine, I guess. Baba is up on that news. I think just kind of what the Chinese government has been doing is just letting know big tech that Big Brother is still watching. Don't get carried away. $3 billion is nothing in the whole context of Alibaba. So I think it's up about. I think I looked earlier about $10. You may want to watch the other Chinese tech names. JD, Baidu. Names like that may get a bump if the market feels like the pressure is off from the Chinese government on big tech. Also, we've got Microsoft making a takeover bid for Nuance Communications. I think the number I saw was about $16 billion. Nuance is big in voice recognition. And just briefly, what I saw is Microsoft wants to apply this technology in the healthcare space, which is a big market that they want to get into. This may be a good little test case for the new Biden administration on how they want to handle mergers and acquisitions, especially for big tech. Are they going to let big tech run wild over the next 4 years, buying pretty much everything they want just because they can? Or are they going to try and throttle them back and not let them, run away with things? You've got, Elizabeth Warren and Congress pretty much skeptical of big cap tech, but being skeptical and throwing on the brakes are two different things. So let's watch that just from that perspective. So let's get into the charts. SPY 2 hour on a nice uptrend line over the last several weeks, pushing the new highs. I don't see any particular issue in the charts. I think you stay long, certainly against this uptrend line. I think anything above 409 keeps the green light intact. Even any little kind of pullback here, I think is fine. Of course, if you're a short-term trader, you're not going to just want to let $4 or $5 just evaporate. But the trend is definitely bullish. All-time highs you want to buy. Stay long. Look for long entries on any pullback. We are overbought on the 2-hour time frame, but that's not a sell signal. That just speaks to strength. Where I would start getting a little bit concerned is if we drop back below this 70 level on RSI. And you can see here that PPO is actually getting ready to put in a high level bull cross, which would bode well for a further advance. Here on the 30-minute chart, I've adjusted this trend line a little bit, just coming off the lows here. You can see we had a nice long consolidation and then just a grind higher over the last several days of last week, finishing strong into Friday. RSI has moved back into overbought territory, which is positive, and momentum is moving higher, which is what you want to see. So stay long against the trend line, short-term traders. Look for long entries, especially if you see any little pullback or a place to reload down like in 409 area. That's a key pivot on the 30-minute chart. I don't really see that happening, which is probably why it will happen. You know how that goes. But over the next couple days, unless we get a real curveball, I think things will be positive into bank earnings. QQQ has been on a real catch-up trade. We saw it start back here a couple of weeks ago at the end of March with several gap ups. Now we're back at the old highs at 337. I think if we pop that would be a great opportunity. If any of you have been long during this period of time, to ratchet up your strikes and stops, move it up to the all-time high. For anybody that hasn't been in, I mean, as we break into new highs, there's not going to be any natural sellers. So this could be a real acceleration point, just from a technical standpoint, as we break out to new highs. So you can recalibrate everything against the old high, which is 337. And then once we break above that, if in fact we do, then what you don't want to see is a pullback back below that old time high. You want that to of course, hold on any kind of back test. So moving on to the 30-minute chart, consolidation, gap up, consolidation, move higher, right up here to this 337. I think today, anything north of 335 is going to be bullish. I really expect us to pop this 337 today. If it doesn't happen, today, I think it's going to happen within the next couple of days, even if there's some, consolidation right above the prior all-time high. So I think that this chart remains bullish in an uptrend. So, continue to ratchet up your strikes and stops, constantly booking those gains as you move forward, to continue to take money to the bank and resetting your levels. IWM has been lagging. You can see here, this is a 2-hour chart. We've got a kind of a consolidation triangle where we put in a high, we came down, put in a higher low here. We've been grinding a little bit higher, but then we came up here, hit downtrend resistance, and pulled back to this 221 area. I think really to get a green light, or at least a buy signal, we got to take out 224. And then we're going to have some immediate resistance at this 226 level. And then we'll have, levels as I've got them marked here overhead if we were to break this downtrend resistance. The one thing I like is that RSI continues to improve. And on PPO, we've got this classic reset at the 0 line. If we were to break higher here, curl higher, take out this downtrend resistance on momentum, I think we should be in an upward path. One thing I want to remind you of is that IWM is loaded with regional banks, and we may see a pop in the regionals based on what the big banks say. And if TLT breaks lower, i.e. rates move higher, you're going to see all those regional banks pop, and that should translate into a move in IWM, but currently definitely lagging SPY and QQQ with those two at the highs, and of course IWM being less than that. Here's just that view of that triangle where you want to see 224 get taken out. Unless you're a very active trader, I would just let this grind away inside the triangle and see which way it resolves. Usually it resolves in the direction of the triangle, which is higher. So once, if in fact we do get that 224, that would be a good place to get long with a stop just below, and then see if we can take out this 226. And then if we can take out 228, then the paths should be opened up for 232. At this point, I want to remind folks or encourage new listeners. I really appreciate you being here. If you like the commentary, please hit the subscribe button and the alarm bell. You'll get notified of all my new content. Longtime listeners, I really appreciate it. Pass the link along, hit the like button. I really appreciate a thumbs up. That helps in YouTube and letting others know that the content is worthwhile. I really appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed to all my content, look over in the show notes. You'll see links there to the blog site and also how to register for my content. And that way, trade ideas, chart setups, market observations during the day, you'll get a nice email right to your inbox. You won't have to, search social media and all that to find the post. You'll get it right in your email box. And then you can decide if you want to take action on that idea or to, of course, let it go. So I really appreciate that. FATMAAN is really starting to shine. It's been shining for several weeks. And there's an adage in trading, easier trading follows hard trading. And we had 6 long months of hard trading in the FANG names. All this consolidation has apparently resolved itself higher, and now Facebook is starting to run at all-time highs. I think anything above 305, you stay long. If you haven't been long, you got to get this pullback here into 305 for a back test. But the farther we get away from it, the farther, the less likely you get that back test. So if you do get long, you got to keep a tight stop. And, it's not the optimum place to, try and jump in at this point. There were several opportunities back here on the back touch of this breakout, and then the breakout above 295. So there were places along the way, if you've been following along, where you could have gotten long on the chart. But right here, I'd be a little bit cautious. If you do decide to get long, just keep a very tight stop. Apple, the levels have been working like a dream. You know that already if you've been trading it. All the way up, we've had all these levels 123 into the gap. Gap fill, next target 127, little consolidation, a back touch of the gap was a great opportunity to get long if you weren't in. Breakout of 127, we targeted 128 in the small gap. Break above, we targeted 130. Consolidation breakout, this is on Friday. We set on a breakout of 130, target 132. And then we even had the gap fill on Friday to 133. So the levels have been working. Apple has been working. You can see the trend. So whether you're long on the daily chart or long on the 60-minute chart, stay long. Our next target is 134. If you're not in, buy the breakout of 134, and that target's 137. And really 137 is, if you go to the daily chart, that is a key level for carving out even higher gains in Apple on the daily chart. And that would be, you can see back here barely, because it's been a while, that was a resistance level way back when in February. So now, if we can get above 134, we can really challenge that. Tesla. I looked pre-market, and Tesla has gapped higher into this 685, 690 area. And really, to me, I've been bearish in this area. But if we zoom out and take a look at it, it looks like a bull flag. Here's the impulsive move. Here's a peak in RSI and momentum. And now, during this consolidation period, remember there was a big gap here and we filled most of it. Now there's just a little gap down here. It may never come back to get that anytime soon, but a very bullish setup is the momentum pullback to the zero line and then putting in a bull cross at the zero line and moving higher. So today, this gap higher may be the start of a breakout move from this consolidation bull flag. Look for a bull cross in PPO. Look for a breakout in RSI. And then really the last confirming signal that Tesla is on the way back up is taking out this 70750 to 710 little resistance zone. If we go back, you'll see 4 or 5 places where Tesla had trouble at that level. So on the gap up this morning, I don't think you need to, just buy it right out of the gate. See if it comes in and backfills, or see if it breaks out above 710. If you get the breakout, then that can be a great level that you shoot against on the long side going forward, and see if Tesla can start feeling it. Speaking of feeling it, Microsoft has been feeling it. We had this big impulsive candle higher with a bull flag. This thick blue line here is the extension, the measured move extension of the bull flag. We said, 256 or higher. So that measured move has been achieved. I've dropped in a little trend line here. Microsoft is at all-time highs in blue sky, no natural sellers. I think it continues to grind higher into its earnings. You'll have to take a look. I don't know when that is exactly, but I think this has bullish tailwinds into earnings. As long as it holds this trend line or stays above, let's just say 254, 255, I think things look good for Microsoft. Amazon as well. Beautiful uptrend line on the 60-minute chart. On Friday, the Free 50 Club delivered yet again. We had a low of 32.88. You buy the breakout above 3,300. free 50 club, you're looking for 33.50, and you got to move all the way to 33.72. So you got, in essence, a $72 move on a Friday afternoon. That's great money on basically what is a, lottery pick on a Friday, buying 3,300 at 10 o'clock in the morning and finishing $72 higher from there. That's a great trade. And actually, we had one or two people in the trading room. They played it a little bit differently. They bought 33.50s on that breakout, looking for that $50 move, and then got 20 above that. So obviously they bought a little bit out of the money, and they got the free 50 club. So that was a great trade. I think now you stay long against 33.50 and the trend line, and look for this to grind to 3,400, 3,450. I think that's where it's heading. Google, same thing. All-time highs, holding nice trend line. I think you stay long against the trend line. If, in fact, you get this bull cross here, that would bode well. We're overbought on RSI, but it's a good overbought. Like I said, that's not a sell signal. Be a little cautious on a break of this trend line. You may get a pullback into 22.40, but I think you're looking for long setups here. And if you're long, stay long. Recalibrate your strikes and stops. Keep taking this to the bank as it grinds higher. Don't become complacent like, oh, I got this, and you got a lot of money embedded in your option positions. Continue to peel that off, and as it moves higher, as I think it will, into earnings, then you should remain in good shape. Netflix has moved appreciably higher. These levels have been working like gold, as you see here. Going all the way back. I'm not going to detail every little level, but you can see 552.50 was resistance. You got a back test here of 542.50. If you were watching Netflix, perfect place to get long, very objective, where you could have put a stop just below. Then you got the $10 move, and now we have broken above this 552.50. Your next overhead target is 565, and that's where I think it's going if everything stays constructive. So stay long against 552.50. If you had gotten long at lower levels, I would ratchet up your stops and your strikes up to that level. Now, late last week, we talked about some little setups in the gold miners. One of them was Kirkland Lake. Got a nice move on Friday, a 3% move. We had talked about this 35.50. We got a nice move there above the 50. So that was nice to see. And it was interesting that came on a day where gold was really not doing anything. So I think the miners are starting to move. And so keep an eye on them. If you got any kind of back test here of the 50 on KL, I would be a buyer there. I did take a position, so that's starting to work out of the gate. Notice the breakout on RSI. Notice PPO starting to break above zero, and that would put both of them kind of in bull mode. I'm looking for a test here at 39, 40, or excuse me, closer to 40 at this downtrend line, and that would be a significant level for it to break out. Wheat and precious metals was also a ticker on our list. primarily a silver miner. We had the breakout where we said you could go ahead and buy it. It was so close to the trend line. And it was interesting on Friday, silver was down. WPM opened down, back tested the 200 and the downtrend line, and then finished higher. So that was very constructive price action on that, and I think it bodes well with price breaking out. Another setup I flagged on Friday was this Zimmer Biohealth. Big long consolidation and now an impulsive breakout. I like this one long. Measured move target is 175, $10 wide consolidation, and now breakout targets 175. But I think we're at all-time highs, so no natural sellers. I like that one. Best Buy. Again, we've got a $20 consolidation for 6 months, and we've got an emerging breakout here. If this can break and hold, I like this to 140. That's the measured move target. Notice we got a $20 consolidation. Notice all the moving averages are bullishly stacked. This would have been a great buying location at the bottom of the range. Of course, that's all hindsight. Best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant one is today. That goes for trees and goes for stocks. Great to look back and say, I wish I would have bought here. That's true. But in 3 months, you may have a lot of people saying, I wish I would have bought the breakout here at 122.50. I like this setup. I think it goes higher if it can hold right there. Regional banks had a nice uptrend. We pulled back, and I think if you look, this coincides with rates backing off. You know, we had the big surge in rates, and then we've been in a period of consolidation. I think rates go higher. I think you'll have some bullish commentary on big banks. And remember, the regional banks are more sensitive to rates than the big banks. They make more, conventional banking. The big banks have all the different, capital markets and trading, and they have a lot more knobs to turn, whereas the regional banks are more or less your traditional banks. And as the economy opens up and you've got all these, businesses looking to either refire or expand if they see an opportunity, if they see the clouds opening up and the economy getting on fire, you may see a lot more loan demand with these regional banks, and that should be profitable business. And so I like KRE on a breakout here above 68. I have not taken a close look at the big banks, but I expect them to do well also. The thing I like about KRE is you can buy that basket of stocks and just, all through earnings season, if the regionals get going, you don't have to be, out there picking, is it going to be this one or is it going to be that one? You can play the sector with KRE. It's got a great options chain that's pretty liquid with a lot of activity. I think that's the way to go on regional banks. And, if you see that yield spike, if yields go up and take out 170 and then take out the high of 175, I think these regional banks reaccelerate, and that I like regional banks long going forward, both into earnings season. I think you're going to have a lot of good reports, and uh, inflation and rates accelerate into the second and third quarters through the summer of this year, and I think that's going to be a good place to be. Speaking of rates, here's TLT. We've got this little, I mean, to me, it looks like a bear flag. You know, we had the leg down. Here's your little little bear flag. I think you're going to have a hard time making the 50. If it ever did make the 50, I think there's either something really, really wrong with the economy, either, you know, a problem with COVID, problem with the economy. I don't think it makes the 50. I think this is the top of that bear flag. I think if you wanted to play rates directly, you could take a short on TLT on a break of this trend line, break of the bear flag, and then I think you get a significant leg down. Just remember, if you're long banks and you're short TLT, that's the same trade. So be careful, you know, don't think you're all diversified being long banks and short TLT. That's the same trade. So not saying don't do it. I'm just saying be aware that it's the same trade. So, okay, I think things look bullish. Just a little recap. We've got the earnings kickoff on Wednesday of the big banks. We got BABA that's popping on the Chinese settlement of their whatever they had against BABA and big cap tech in China. Watch those names: JD, Baidu, that whole family of tech names. And then we've got Microsoft and Nuon takeout bid for $16 billion. That'll be interesting to watch going forward to see how the Biden administration says, free for all in terms of mergers and acquisitions for big cap tech, or not so fast. We're going to throw the brakes on and watch it like a hawk. So things look good for today. So have a good day of trading and talk to you next time. This has been Chris Buss with Traders Profit Compass. Talk to you soon.